What's up, Latino Nation? My name is Tony Delgado. Welcome to Latino Wall Street Live here on FinTech TV. And we're super excited for my next guest. He is an entrepreneur, a legal mind, and a very distinguished businessman from Puerto Rico, and one of the co-founders of InDiario. My main man, Alex, thank you for being here,
Tony,
my friend.
what's up?
So I want to talk, we're going to dive into sort of the political and financial climate in Puerto Rico and everything that's going on the islands. You know, they're calling it a crypto utopia. They've called it a tax haven. There's a million things that they've called Puerto Rico. With your expertise, I definitely want to dive in to what's happening on the island. But before we go there, can you tell me a little bit more about InDiario and what gave you the passion and the mission to start your new organization or your new venture?
Yeah, sure. You know, as you were saying, I'm a lawyer by trade. I have my own law firm, and among other businesses that we own in Puerto Rico. And we got together with a group of investors, friends. We thought that there was a need in Puerto Rico for more transparent media, because we, as well in the U.S., have like a legacy media in Puerto Rico. And you know, we figured that there's like all around the world, there's like a need for direct, transparent, genuine like media content, where at least tell me your biases. So for us, we believe in freedom, individual freedom, and economic liberties. It's all about freedom.
Yeah.
Just want to be free. Just let me do my thing. But for that, you need to be, genuine, So we got together and basically came with the idea of doing like a new media company where we could have like podcasters and we can have like journalists, like top-notch journalists, but we will tell the story as it is, and we will let you decide. Again, we will tell you our biases, and then you decide. So you consume, based on whatever we're telling you that we believe.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, that's one of the big problems with the mainstream media, these kind of conglomerates, is you don't really even know who's in charge. Like most people don't even realize that Telemundo and Univision, they have parent companies, they have holding companies that are really telling them what to do behind the scenes. So it looks like they're independent organizations, or even like the shows, they've tried to make them kind of look like podcasts. And so you think that the journalists are telling you their true feelings and emotions, but in reality, a lot of them are just reading off a script.
No, they're usually pushing an agenda, like you were saying. But, and I don't have a problem if you have an agenda, but let me know what it is.
Yeah.
Just be transparent about what you believe, because I know that's what I'm consuming.
So, but one of the things that I've found, because a lot of these people are our friends behind the scenes, is a lot of times they don't even believe that. They just have to read what's on the teleprompter, and they don't even believe the things they're saying, but it's like, hey, it's my job to get on the news and repeat a narrative or a talking point. And I think, in the American media, we have a lot of alternatives. There's, a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of podcasts, and a lot of alternative places to get your news and information. But in the Spanish media, there's definitely a lack. And that's kind of a shared vision of ours with Latino Wall Street, is we want to give people a voice to have an alternative to the mainstream.
People want to listen to real people. And that's why one of our strategies is we're going to have a lot of like podcast content, because, if for example, we were doing an interview earlier on with Hugo, and I want people to meet and know who Hugo Sanchez is, for example. And Hugo Sanchez is a very genuine person, right? He's going to talk to you like he's talking at a bar, and you're going to hear the story like raw. There's no editorial stuff. Like there's nothing that has been like, it's no agenda. It's just him. And that's the content that people are craving. So we figure we got together, we raised money with investors, and we created this company. And, our plans is to expand to the Hispanic markets within the U.S. But right now we're starting in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. And what about it, I guess, in Puerto Rico, what are sort of the trends, and what are maybe sort of the limitations that you see in media just in Puerto Rico? Because Puerto Rico is a very influential market. I mean, if you look at a lot of the reggaeton stars, the biggest stars in the world, a lot of them start in Puerto Rico and then they branch out to the U.S. and then the rest of Latin America. How do you think that the media needs to evolve just in Puerto Rico in general?
Well, again, I just would think that, just let people know your biases. Because, for example, there might be sponsors that if they know where you're coming from, they will still want to do business with you just because they believe in that or because you have the eyeballs. It's just a matter of like, that's how marketing works. If you have people that are watching your content or that are reading your newspaper or are going into your media, your social media pages and everything and consuming, then you're going to have people who want to do sponsorships or who wants to advertise within your media company. And I think that if you have the tools, which today I think the world requires, like the world we're living in requires to have like many tools. We talk about podcasters. We talk about like a lot of video and social media content that is entertaining and that it's it's catchy for the people that are watching. Well, you're gonna do good. I mean, the media world is like so big. It's just like it's a big piece of the pie. But again, you have a responsibility of informing people, and that's your north. Like you have to keep that always in mind. You want to inform people. You wanna push all the information so that they can decide.
Yeah, they can make up their own mind.
But again, you have to be transparent about it. So I think that any media company in the world, and Puerto Rico particularly, has to understand that what people want. What do they want? They want to hear like something that is accurate, or at least that they know where it comes from.
I love that. So one of the exciting things that's happened in the last decade in Puerto Rico has been this Act 20, Act 22, and now it's turned into this Act 60 tax program. And for people who don't know, it's a program where you can pay 0% on capital gains and 4% on corporate taxes. And there's all these incentives, and people are excited about it when they hear about it. I was excited about it when I heard about it. And there are a lot of rules, and I think things that people don't know about that program. And I know your law firm, that's one of the things that you guys specialize in. You want to talk a little bit about what is
Sure.
Act 60? And I know a lot of Puerto Ricans actually, they think it's a bad thing. So maybe explain what it is, and then what are the pros and what are the cons? Why is it good for Puerto Rico? What are some things that maybe Puerto Rico should watch out for? And your opinions on Act 60
Sure.
and what do you think it is?
Well, as you know, Act 2022, formerly Act 2022, now Act 60, basically provides a benefit to any investor that establishes, in the case of Act 20, a company in Puerto Rico for a different variety of services within several industries: tech, consulting, medical device, research and development, and among others, right? Architectural services, among other things. And basically, like you said, any company that establishes in Puerto Rico, based in Puerto Rico, will have 4% in capital gain and 0% in dividends. That's basically the big ones. And plus, since you're in Puerto Rico, you don't pay federal tax. So any company could benefit from that. And again, it's good catalyst for the Puerto Rican economic development because that creates jobs. Within the last few years, or from its creation, it's created approximately 8,000 direct employments and about the same quantity of indirect employments. Okay, so think about that. It's almost like a 2 billion impact into the Puerto Rican economy. And again, if you're an owner of these companies, then you would go for Act 22, which is now part of Act 60, and then you have another additional benefit as an investor or as an owner of the company, where you don't pay dividends, tax on dividends. You pay the Puerto Rico local tax that applies to you, and you have to reside in Puerto Rico for 183 days. But basically, it's like creating a fiscal paradise, because you know that we have other things that we can offer. Puerto Rico has very beautiful beaches, and it's part of the U.S. So everything it's within, it's the same as being in the U.S. And it's very attractive to any investor that wants to have access to, in this case, in Puerto Rico right now, high quality services and jobs. For example, the tech guys, and you mentioned cryptos. Many of the crypto guys are moving to Puerto Rico just because they want the benefits of that Act 60 provides. Again, it's a process. You have to have a decree.
Yeah.
but it's something that is, it's not that hard. It's actually pretty easy to do. You could just hire someone in Puerto Rico to do that for you. And once you're established, I mean, you're in a fiscal paradise.
So I guess what would you say to the detractors, the local Puerto Ricans that they say that, hey, this is creating more inflation in Puerto Rico. It's raising the prices of housing. They're not really hiring. It's not creating the expected amount of jobs that maybe they thought it was going to create. And maybe they say it's not fair that these people are moving to Puerto Rico and they don't have to pay taxes when everyone else does.
Well, the numbers are there. They do pay taxes. Again, if you're an individual, you're gonna pay the tax that corresponds to any like salaries and other stuff like consumption tax, etc. And
Which is really high in Puerto Rico. It's like 12%.
it is high.
Yeah.
It could be in the case
It's
of
almost 12%, right? It's
well,
like
in,
11 points.
with this profile, you're looking at maybe 33%. Just what it is. It's very similar to what we have here in the mainland in the federal taxes.
Yeah.
And but again, they do pay taxes. They have a preferential rate. But again, what's the price of bringing more economic development to Puerto Rico? What's the price of bringing 10,000 jobs to Puerto Rico? And each of those jobs are approximately $35,000 a year in average. So again, there's detractors, but I think the detractors should concentrate more on the compliance side of the equation, because I would say yes, as long as you're doing your compliance and making sure that there's accountability of those who are coming to Puerto Rico and they're actually looking at so that they comply with the requisites that they have in Puerto Rico of job creation and tax. I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, the simplest thing that I like to say is, I'd rather have 4% of millions of dollars than 0% of nothing. Because if they didn't move here in the first place, they wouldn't be paying any taxes, right? They'd be paying taxes in California or Florida or wherever they moved from. So it's new revenue, whether it's 4% or whether it's 2% or whatever that percentage is, it is new revenue. And then to your point, there's consumption taxes. Every single time that you spend money, you're still getting taxed 12%. Your payroll, there's still taxes that come out of payroll for you and all your employees. And then isn't there like a charitable contribution as well that they have to make?
Yeah,
every
they have
year?
to pay a charitable contribution for about $10,000 a year.
10,000.
Yeah. So I mean, there's other requisites that sweeten the pie for the government in order to do this. But I wanted to tell you something else. Think about this. Puerto Rico, it's number one manufacturing and bioscience hub in the U.S. for pharmaceuticals and anything that is bioscience, right? Number one in the U.S. But you know that as economies start growing and developing, they kind of go away from manufacturing jobs because those jobs, usually you try to do them for cheaper than what you have now, or like less cost of what you spending right now. And then you go into higher services, like high profile services. I think the Act 22, the Act 60 investors that have come to Puerto Rico that are mostly tech people and cryptos in financial services, they brought the jobs that help the economy develop. Because now the people that you usually had in like the manufacturing jobs are going into these high profile services. And that's because they created an ecosystem that provided for that. So that's something that you have to consider when you're, weighing the benefits of the Act 60. But again, the results are there. It's almost about $2 billion impact for the government. And I mean, I would say it's something that actually they were thinking about looking into the program and maybe raising some of the rates. But again, until we get there, 4% in capital gain, 0 for taxes, and 0% in dividends.
Wow, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a fiscal haven.
And what are, I guess, some other industries or other trends that you see in Puerto Rico, other opportunities? I know there's the Opportunity Zone program that Trump passed in his first term. Uh, what are some other investment opportunities for people to look at in Puerto Rico?
Opportunity zones are interesting. Again, anything in Puerto Rico, pretty much other than Condado and Miramar area, it's opportunity zones, pretty much.
Yeah, it's
So
like more than 90% of the real estate is classified as an
yeah.
opportunity.
So again,
And how does opportunity zones work for people that don't know?
well, opportunity zones provide like benefits for anyone who wants to develop certain like businesses or uh developments within the opportunity zones. Um, and there's something that is going to be big now with the Trump administration. It's just, for example, we were talking about this yesterday. Puerto Rico has many opportunities, I think, within the current Trump administration. Peter Navarro, who's one of the chief advisors to the president, he once said, "Hire, fire China, hire Puerto Rico." And that's important because Puerto Rico has a big opportunity of attracting many of the manufacturing companies that are operating in other jurisdictions, China, maybe Taiwan, Europe, and then try to bring them here to Puerto Rico, which is U.S. soil,
A lot closer,
a lot closer,
under our control,
on
better
the
for national
jurisdiction.
security.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And then because you have a big advantage. It's the people, it's the human capital. The Puerto Rican human capital is good for the manufacturing jobs. Okay, again, even if it's pharmaceutical or bioscience, even better. But we have a good opportunity of grabbing those possible like manufacturing industries and bring them back to Puerto Rico. But again, it has to, a lot has to do with the fiscal health of Puerto Rico. Right now, I don't know if you're aware, but there's still a negotiation with the PREPA bondholders. And they're talking about $10 billion that are owed to the bondholders. And they're trying to negotiate. And that's important because Puerto Rico needs to take control of their fiscal situation in order to be attractive to any of these investments. So they're doing
So
their
Puerto
job.
Rico right now is 10 billion in debt. Is that what you said?
With the PREPA holders, those are the biggest bondholders that still have not successfully negotiated with the government, and they're still trying to negotiate right now. But that is very important. It's just as the P3s that were created. There were 7 P3s that are running right now, and these public-private partnerships are, they have been good, but again, they have challenges. They have like the monitoring and the compliance challenges that
Well, yeah,
we need to.
they had to put a federal oversight committee, right, to manage the finances of Puerto
That's
Rico.
the FOMB, that's the
Yeah.
Fiscal Control Board, so management board. So yes, we have a board that oversees like the finances in Puerto Rico, and they're part of the negotiation with PREPA and with the bondholders and with the government. So
And so Puerto Rico has this $10 billion debt that's over their head. And then I would assume they're paying interest on that debt, right? How
yes,
much
they are.
are they paying in interest?
I don't have the exact number, but they're paying interest on the debt. And the important thing is, Tony, if you were able to negotiate that, that would help you stabilize, the system. Because right now you're looking at maybe raising the rates or the tariffs that you pay for the electric service, just because
Which
you
are
haven't
already
been
expensive,
able
by
to.
the way.
Of course,
Yeah, the electricity and the water is really
and we
expensive.
live in an island.
Yeah.
It is expensive. It is a problem. It should be addressed with the P3s. But again, you have this cloud hanging, and looming over you, which is, you need to negotiate, get to an agreement, and that will help you determine whether you're going to have to raise the rate for the electric services or not. That's important because if you're a manufacturer and you're coming to Puerto Rico, you need electricity and it needs to be cheap. So again, there's challenges, but I think Puerto Rico has a great opportunity, even with the Trump administration. Again, Trump will push with the tariffs that everyone knows that are not that good. I'm not saying they're not good, but I believe they're good for negotiation. But you don't want tariffs. Like your ideal scenario is that nobody pays tariff. No country pays tariff. But that's not going to happen unless you negotiate. And that's a negotiation strategy that the president has. But again, while that happens, I think that's going to create opportunities for Puerto Rico to bring manufacturing jobs to the island.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that would be huge. That would be a game changer because I believe the average salary in Puerto Rico is
About
12,000. Or
It's a little,
it's gone up
about
towards that.
20,000 something.
Yeah.
It's low, and within the U.S. it's one of the lowest. Again, but we have good opportunities. We're very good. We're number one in bioscience and pharma within the U.S., followed by Indiana. But we're number one. And that's important because that speaks about the quality of the human capital that there's in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And that's why we were able to maybe move some of the mass manufacturing jobs. And when the Act 20 and 22, now Act 60 came to Puerto Rico, they allowed us to somehow move some of those manufacturing jobs that were being lost and move them to a high profile technical, just like, software development or technology jobs.
Yeah.
And again, we also have like a good universities,
But that brings,
University of Maya West is like one of the best universities in engineering.
well, and a very high percentage of kids go to college more than any other state in the United States.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to college.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems is, traditional education system has its flaws. But then additionally, there's a huge problem in Puerto Rico that I learned about called the brain drain, where you have the best and the brightest, they go to college and then they come to the States to get high paying jobs and they leave. So you have some of the top talent actually leaving Puerto Rico. Um, I know we're running low on time. If you could maybe go back in time and talk to the 18-year-old version of yourself, or if you were talking to a young 18-year-old kid that's going into college studying at UPR right now and giving them a little piece of advice, what advice would you give for the young people?
I would say just get up, don't complain, get up your behind and do something. Because sometimes I feel that in Puerto Rico there's a lot of complaining, protesting, and we just need people to work. We had previous generations, and I used to be one that didn't get along with my previous generations, but now I love them. And it's just because they have a work ethic that is unmatched. And if I were to tell that version of myself, like my 18-year-old version, it's work harder. It's not even about how smart you are. I don't consider I wasn't the smartest. I just, optimize all my, best traits. And I learned that, like later on in life. But again, if I were to look back, it would be just work hard, nonstop. If you work hard, it's going to come. It's going to happen. If you do your thing, you're going to be successful. If it is because you're a content creator, be the best content creator. Don't sleep, just hustle. And that's so, so, so important. And nowadays we have so many tools are like reach that are so important, but you have to use them as a complement. And I always tell young people nowadays, look, everything that helps you do something is innate, and it's going to allow you to do things faster and better. But again, you have to train your mind. And emotional, you have to be in control of your emotions. If you control your emotions, that's half of the game. I think even more.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the big things is knowing that you can do it and not waiting for someone else to save you. I mean, we went to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, actually went with Hugo and a couple other entrepreneurs. We brought solar panel lights, we brought water, supplies, and we went knocking on doors, giving out supplies after the hurricane. And we were not really waiting for the government to come save us. We were saying, no, we're going to take it upon ourselves to go and try to help our community. And I think that message of self-reliance is really important for young people and old people that feel like they're in a situation where they want more, but they're looking for someone else to hand it to. And it's like, no one's going to hand it to you. You got to hand it to yourself. You got to create your own lane. So I love that. If people want to connect with you on social media, they want to learn more about InDiario and what you guys are doing, where should they go?
InDiario.com, InDiario.com. In our social media, the same thing, InDiario, InDiario.com. The social media platforms. Again, I'm a collaborator there.
You guys got a big event coming up in Puerto Rico, right?
Yes, July 11, CreaCon. It's gonna be a surprise. I don't want to. I want to hold on and then because you said that you were going to help us with that. So
Oh yeah, we're
we're
gonna
gonna
be there. We're definitely gonna be there.
we're gonna do like a good teaser. We're gonna have an announcement. But July 11th, mark the calendar. KreaCon. It's a convention for content creators, but it's gonna have an element that we're gonna blend with the biggest marketing. I mean, with the marketing people for the biggest companies in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a matchmaking, I would say. We're gonna tell these companies, the importance of like new media strategies and try to do some matching. But again, we'll do like an official announcement later on. Again, I wanted to thank you because this is the beginning of a good collaboration, and we hope to be here like every month if we could, or if we can. So Latino Wall Street, I think it's important in Puerto Rico. What you guys do, you have been helping Hispanics within the U.S. with their finances and other economic things. And I think that in Puerto Rico, there's a market for that. People should have the same opportunity to listen to you guys. You guys do an exceptional work, and I have to commend you for that. And we hope that, this is the beginning of long-term collaborations.
Yeah, the beginning of something big.
Yeah.
Alex, thank you
Tony.
again, my friend.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.